long distance kisses, although you could have run to Coast City, made out with her, and been back home by now. Hey guys, it's your girl Asia, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to The Flash. We're now on to episode 9 of season 8, which is called Phantoms. So we ended the last episode with some pretty scary stuff going down, namely that we saw that Iris is definitely being affected by all the things that are happening in the timeline. We saw in the episode previously that a few of her items were disappearing, but in this episode, her eyes were glowing green, and it had a whole situation around her change without any explanation. So that says to me that this is only seeming to happen to Iris, and it seems to be getting bigger. And so I'm really worried because I have no idea why this is happening to Iris. I mean, we know that she was already dealing with a lot of stuff back in the last season or before. The seasons are blurry for me right now. Sorry, guys, because of that huge hiatus in the middle. But we know that, she was kind of being taken out, by the turtle god. He was treating her, remember, because of all the timeline things that were affecting her before. And it looks like that stuff is not done now, even though things with the timeline were fixed after Armageddon, or somewhat fixed. So it looks like Iris is still feeling some ramifications of that, and I'm very interested to find out exactly how it's going to affect her, and again, how it's going to affect her and Barry. We're not going to know until we get into the episode, so I'm going to jump in, but before I do, if it's your first time on my channel, thank you so much for coming. If you do like this video, please consider hitting that like button and also leaving a comment below. It helps a lot with people seeing my videos. I appreciate it very, very much and love to interact with you. And if you really like it here, please hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when I do more reactions to this show. And if you have been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. The same goes for you as well. If you'd like this video, please click the like button. Please leave comments below and subscribe if you have not already. We'd love to have you as part of the family. All right, that out of the way, guys, let's get into episode 9 right about now.
Almost at the goal line.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, but I appreciate you checking.
Hey, gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Chickadee.
Well, it's just that,
A whole room changed in front of my eyes?
yeah.
Do not remember
I must have just
at all.
Oh, hold up now.
You see something now?
Mutations, like one I've never seen before.
That's not comforting.
Tell you what, I'm gonna go hit up my force sibs to see if they can help
I was
me
about to
figure
say,
this
maybe
out.
you should talk to Nora about this since she's been around since the dawn of time.
Just chill. Trust me.
I think you should tell Barry. I mean, I trust you, Dion, but really, she should be telling her husband because Barry should know these things. Because if his wife just, I don't know, suddenly disappears or something, he needs to know. Also, she shouldn't be bearing this on her own. Like, this is terrifying. What's wrong?
Chester.
You all right, Bo?
Yeah, right?
Never seen a dead body before? He freaked out with the burned body last episode too, now that I think about it. What's going on with you, Chester? Have you seen these before? You need to start talking.
Iris. Hi. You good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm great.
That was actually really well done. Like, remember, we're in here having a meeting? Are we disturbing you?
You don't mind staying in posh 5-star hotel suites, do you?
Oh my God, I totally hate it, but for you, I'll stand it for you.
Allegra's right. I mean, this is a huge scoop, and if this story pops...
Let Iris stay in the 5-star hotel, damn it, and stop questioning.
Great. That's that. Road trip. Oh.
Yay! Hey, you'll work up to the road trip, okay, Allegra? Iris needs this. The last couple seasons she needs a damn hotel vacation.
Too late.
So fast and yet. When does Barry learn to do what like Nora, the god of speed, does, where she just kind of like goes up in like a vacuum of lightning and comes down somewhere else? Because that sounds like what we need right about now. What level is that?
Oh, Fahrenheit 451.
That's creepy.
It's like an 8-inch vacuum sealed borosilicate canister with an ionic fuse base and cap.
The fact that only Barry would understand any of what he just said. That's why being a nerd is hot. Ah! I will take this flame of death and I will grow it into the most magnificent weapon. Or just study it.
CCC media is evolving.
How about you and Barry? You guys still the couple of the century.
Personal questions.
And Allegra could have handled this story and taken some of this off your plate. Is there anything you want to share?
Look, she just wanted a vacation, damn it. I love this outfit. Wait, Coast City says jitters too? This is a chain? Since when? Looks exactly like the one in Central City, just saying.
I'm Iris West Allen with the Central City Citizen Media.
Never heard of it.
Fair enough. And this is,
She's like, well, damn, okay.
what's your name?
I'm not telling you that.
Order for Tanya?
Sorry. Damn these coffee shops.
I was the reporter that helped break his story. And if you let me, I can help do the same for you.
She's like,
How'd
but
you
I
guys find
plan
me
on
anyway?"
having a life of crime. Fair enough. That was very intrusive. You didn't destroy the app, by the way. You just destroyed my phone, but okay. That was a little assertive, though, Iris. Like, I love you, sis, but you can't just come up to a stranger and be like, hey, we know everything about you. We want to bust your story wide open. Trust me.
Me and Scary Black Flame.
I know. Black people, we don't do this stuff. We don't sit and run towards the danger, you know? Everything in Chester's life saying leave right now. Breathe.
You got this.
You also haven't slept, which is probably not good. How did it get out? Is it sentient?
You were shouting in your sleep. Is everything okay?
Clearly not.
Feel how frightened you still are.
Have you ever had a really good nightmare? That will keep you shook for a solid couple of days.
If something's bothering him, why wouldn't he say so? I mean, he's the most
Because
touchy-feely
humans don't always do that.
to keep us out. Team Flash?
Yeah, well, you're Team Flash, not Family Flash.
He'll talk to me.
Oh, all right. Allegra said, let me just use these feminine wiles. That doesn't work. Radiation to the face.
And we can talk about the real problem while we're doing it.
Right? Because that was weird at the coffee shop. Sorry, Iris. Super weird.
I don't know. Recently, I feel like I'm
Losing time.
starting to lose time.
Side effect of the town sickness.
Something is really wrong.
And that's why you threw yourself into this story?
Yeah, I needed a distraction.
Something to not think about how scared I am.
Either way, you have to stop running from the fear of the unknown. It's
Facts and bars.
I think I know where to find her.
I like that. Sue's like, you're deflecting, but since this is a mission you need to complete, we're going to go with it. Oh, hell no. Am I going to be alone in the dark at Star Labs with some weird demon flame? That's not me. Not me. Nope.
If you need to talk about something.
You know,
Anything.
talk, hug, cuddle, anything to distract. Okay. Ah! Nothing.
Stay behind me.
Okay. Did it show up because the flame was here? Like a part of itself was missing and it tracked it? Kind of like what's his name? Bloodwork did when you tried to take some of his blood? All right, Chester, you need to talk because this doesn't seem like it's unfamiliar to you. We need answers. Because why and how? But why?
Put Star Labs on lockdown. Nobody except for me gets in or out till we figure out what's going on.
But I have things to do. I need to know why Chester's so upset. He's seen this before, I think. Or maybe he knows who might be doing this. Why would you go from so far back? You could have just slipped through the door real quiet like and no one even thought that anything happened.
And that your birth mother worked at that Jitters. And that this apartment was her last known address.
She don't need no app. Iris be smart. Smart people make apps.
But now that I suddenly have these new powers, I have a chance to be somebody.
so.
What are you trying to be exactly?
Yeah, because maybe she'll think that I'm something special
No, honey.
and take me back.
You need to think you're something special.
Iris is a great reporter. And if there's anyone that can help you find your mom, it's her.
Yeah, she's like, I found you. No app needed. And also, yeah, if you are committing crimes by walking through walls, that's not good. Not a good start. Let's stop that path of crime right here.
See that person in the fire?
Mm-hmm.
I know who was. And it wasn't
You're protecting a murderer?
by my father.
I was about to think so. We have a Vader.
He died alone.
Is this real or is this your...
I don't know what you
Conscience?
saw.
Although, you have no reason to feel guilty, but...
I hated him my whole life.
Oh, yeah, here's the guilt. Okay.
Messed up afterlife payback? No.
Parents don't work like that. Perfect timing. You'd almost think it was scripted.
If so, he's gonna have to go through me first. Let's go.
Oh yeah, she's kind of got some fire stuff going on. What happens when cold fusion meets radiation? Let's not find out. Hey, Frost Meta, you want to try your hand at this? No? All right. Like it took, why did that take 4 seconds for you to even try?
That's the reason all of this is happening.
Oh my God, Cecile, please do not channel this man's father right now because that shit's creepy. Hey, Daddy. Yeah, baby boy, please don't kill me.
It's coming from that thing. Allegra's right, that's not your father.
Chester, we belong
Okay, so it just manifests as whatever you want to see.
Lying to you, honey. It wants you to stay trapped inside of your sadness because it's...
Why is it not feeding off Cecile? Wasn't she like a big sad person for like all of last season?
Think about the last time you saw your dad and what you remember.
Just make out with him, Allegra. He would forget all about this. Sorry. Just make out. Little make out session.
proud of his son
That's right.
and the man that I've become.
No, ew. Stranger danger.
My friends. Because they...
And that girl over there who might maybe one day make out with me. Not the suit! Oh, I was gonna go for the Flash suit. So why did it hunt Chester and Chester alone? That was weird. And why did it kill those people? I'm confused. We need answers.
The cold flames are gone. What happened?
I sent him packing.
I told him he wasn't my daddy and he got real insulted and left.
It's a grief pattern.
So
Which fits with where I...
we have a grief meta? That's weird.
Whoever he is eats grief and sorrow to survive.
Creepy.
Someone that was controlling the black flames, like the figure I saw in the fire. But the fire created that. And when I spoke,
So it's not sentient. Well, it is, but it's not.
like he could understand us.
Flames have a survival instinct.
Which means the flames aren't being used by the killer. They are the killer.
Boom!
Because they're alive.
It's alive. I guess. I mean, dark matter's done weirder things, so now it's just weaponized emotion. Cool. So everybody get on Xanax for like the foreseeable future, and we're Gucci.
Sorry, but I guess dealing with loss is just another thing that makes us human.
It's part of our experience, unfortunately.
Is what makes us family.
Bam! He's like, not Allegra, though, because I want to make out with her face. So I prefer if she was not family, because that's weird.
And for the record, you're a very big part of my life, too.
Well, it's practically a love declaration. Let's put a ring on it. No? Okay. Too soon. What's up? Oh, you look worried.
You found out what's wrong with me.
That ain't good.
And it ain't good news.
Clearly, your face. Not hiding anything. That was episode 9 of The Flash called Phantoms, and Phantoms we had indeed. This one seemingly dealing with some of the phantoms in Chester's past, and a little bit of, I think, a reference to this other girl, this new meta that we were introduced to. I'm thinking this wasn't clearly just a distraction to get Iris, you know, out of her head about this time sickness, or to explain why Iris and Grant are not in the same place, or Iris and Barry are not in the same place. But it's an interesting topic, I guess, with the whole guilt and grief and how you could be processing that even years after something happened. Like I said in the episode, it seemed a bit strange. I'm like, why would Chester feel any level of guilt towards his father's death after all? Like, he wasn't there. It was an accident. Like, he had nothing to do with it. It's not like he saw, you know, him die in front of him or anything like that. But we found out that it's more because, you know, as we found out 2 seasons ago, Chester and his dad were not close growing up because his dad was pretty obsessed about his science and his work. And unfortunately, it didn't really translate well to a young Chester that his father could love him and still be passionate about his work. I mean, it also showed that Chester's dad probably could have been a little bit better with balancing his passion along with his fatherhood. But, you know, no one's perfect. But anyhow, we see that that guilt over not being a more affectionate or loving son and having so many years of resentment towards his father has been apparently, you know, it plagued him a little bit. And we saw in that season where Chester got to go back in time and see his father and actually experience him as an adult and get that perspective. He realized that his dad was not what he perceived him to be, that he was just a man, like I said, that unfortunately didn't have the clearest of priorities, but that he still very much loved Chester. And, you know, that helped Chester process some of the anger and disappointment he felt towards his dad. But that guilt, you know, after seeing where his dad was coming from, I guess is something that has plagued him and sat in the back of his mind. And then that this new, do we call it a meta? If it's not really a being, like it's sentient, but it's not really a being, I guess. But anyways, whatever this thing is, it picked up on that, and it just seemed to, it looks like it brought all that subconscious stuff to the forefront for Chester. And seeing the charred bodies now, it makes sense. I completely forgot how his dad died, but I had a feeling he must have seen like a burnt body, or, you know, something about the burnt body was triggering for him. And now we know what that was. Brought him back to his father's death, brought him back to some of those negative emotions. And you know, the fact that he was kind of keeping it to himself and not saying anything, I understand, like, it's not the easiest thing to talk about grief. And I think for men, especially, it's not really, in the Western world, it's not something that men are taught that they can do easily. Men are often encouraged in Western culture to hide their emotions, especially anything that's not happiness or anger. So things like sadness, fear, vulnerability, those are all things that a lot of men feel like they're not free to express to people unless you're extraordinarily close to them. And I can see why Chester would struggle with, you know, telling Team Flash that this is bringing up all this stuff from his childhood. But I'm glad in the end he eventually did. And Allegra was the person that he felt comfortable telling about that. And that's clearly, you know, putting more of those little breadcrumbs in place, because we're clearly going to have an Allegra and Chester romance at some point. But I like that they're showing that they have this good foundational friendship first, because I feel like the best relationships always start with a good friendship if you can. So yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that kind of culminate and have that little bit of a personal arc for Chester. But then, of course, to discover that this meta, I will call it a meta because I don't know what else to call it, this force, this meta force exists, and it's going to be very difficult, right? It's a different challenge for Team Flash. They're used to dealing with an individual who's controlling a power. In this case, this is just a power that exists that is being fueled by certain emotions. And my guess is it's just strong emotions, since Cecile said it's a mixture of a bunch of them. I got to think that it's just gravitating towards the strongest ones. And grief, guilt, fear, and anger. Those are three very powerful emotions. So is love. But you know, for the sake of this villainousness, I guess these are the ones that it seems to be focusing on to a degree. And it's going to be pretty hard to stop this thing, because if it feeds off of grief and anger, like Chester said, unfortunately, grief is part of the human experience. We all have experienced loss or will experience loss at some point. That's just unfortunately part of it, part of life being human. And so it'll always have an endless buffet of things to feed on, it seems. But I don't know why it needs to consume the entirety of that person, if that part's necessary, or if it's just a side effect. But I'm sure we'll find out more as the season continues. Outside of that, we saw Iris. Of course, we still don't know what's going on with her. Whole episode went by and we got another cliffhanger as to why she's experiencing these drops in time. And Dion didn't look happy. Dion looked like it was something that might have been a little bit scary, a little bit uneasy, maybe something he doesn't know how to deal with. I don't really like the fact that Iris isn't telling Barry. Like, even though she wasn't sure what it was yet, I think she still should have told Barry so he was aware of what's going on with her. But I guess we'll see if she actually has the ability to do so in the next episode, since they're apart right now. I see why they created the situation of them being apart, Iris being safer in Coast City at the moment, and Barry wanting to take care of this flame meta in the meantime. But I kind of want to know, like, what's happening. Like, is this going to be another, we got to save Iris by a certain time plot? I wouldn't be surprised. The show's used that a lot. But I would like it to be something a little bit different this time around. But I'm hoping it's also something that ties into the general storyline and not just kind of a side thing for Iris. Because I know that I've said in the past, I do want Iris to have her own arcs and her own situations. But I feel like that those things shouldn't be something that pulls her away from Barry or Team Flash. It should be something that's like she's going through, that she needs to go through to help her character grow. But if there's going to be something like this where there's like a timeline, higher being situation kind of thing going on, I feel like it should tie into the bigger arc of the show in some way. So I'm hoping that that's what's going on here and why we're spending time on it. But we'll have to see, because again, this whole detour into Coast City, this new meta, I'm assuming since we learned her name and spent time with her, she's someone that might potentially become something in Flash, in Team Flash, I should say. I've always said I feel like the cast is big enough. I don't think we really need to add anybody else, but I also have to remember that at some point, you know, Team Flash had a lot of metas going on, and since we don't have Cisco anymore or Ralph, maybe they're looking to throw in another meta into the team. But considering she's a teenager, I feel like that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. But we'll have to see where this goes, or if it goes anywhere at this point. But since they're on this detour, I'm just going to assume that this might actually filter into something that we're going to see later in the season. But that's pretty much all we had in this episode, really. Just kind of that whole arc with Chester, I guess, establishing that Team Flash is in fact his family going forward. And of course, this new meta force that they need to figure out. And yeah, we still don't know what's going on with Iris. So we're just going to keep watching to find out what that is and seeing if it's something that she can fix and whether or not them twins need to come back. Yes, I still call them twins, and see if they can fix this issue or if they have to be part of the solution, since I feel like this might have something to do with all the timeline fixing that they did back in episode 6. So that was it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.